Hey, welcome to ComeonyespursTV, where we talk about everything Spurs. Today we are previewing the match between Leeds and Tottenham. Last game of the season. There's so much hanging on this match for both teams, depending on where you look at it from. To put everything into perspective and to dissect it, this game, this preview, if you like, is going to be split into two parts. One part, we're going to look at the match, of course, we're going to head to the match. And of course, we want to look at do like a reporting scorecard, if you like, of how Spurs have done this season so far. It's in two parts. Today's part is part one. To join me on the other side, I've got Chuma, I've got Jennifer, and I also have Zeus. In the meantime, come on, you Spurs. Welcome back. This is ComeonyespursTV, where we talk about everything Spurs. If this is your first time here, you know the drill. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. How can you know the drill if it's your first time here? And there's end of season blues happening here. Right, if you're first time here, of course, please subscribe to keep us supporting us. Those who've been subscribing and following this channel, I want to say a big thank you for your support over the course of the season. Today is the last match of this 2022-2023 season. And it's been a season and a half for Tottenham fans, right? With me to take this season apart and look ahead to the Leeds match, I've got Jennifer, I have Zeus, and I also have a resident guru, as I like to call him, Chuma. Jennifer, ladies first, where I come from. How are you?
I'm very well, Soji. Thanks.
It's good to have you. We haven't had you. This is your second time on the show, right? Is that correct? Or third time?
Yeah, that's my second time.
Second time on the show. Yes, the last time you were here, I think we won. So good. So I think that's a good omen, if you like. All right, Chuma, how are you?
I'm in between barbecues at the moment. So after this is done, I'm heading to another barbecue. So
now I told the story offline earlier. I'll come back to that story in a minute. And before we carry on, listen. We always leave the best to the last, maybe the gods to the last. And we're honored by his presence today. All the way from Mount Olympus. It's an inside joke. Because Zeus with us. How are you, Zeus? Oh, Zeus is frozen. What's going on here?
He's back.
Yeah, I'm good. How's everybody?
Fantastic. We're fine. We can hear you and loud and clear. Right. So, how do we? Where do we start? Should we start with the preview first and say, okay, let's look ahead to the match and think, okay, fine. The last match, it's been a horrible lot of matches up to now. I've almost forgotten the last time we won a match. Does anyone remember?
1-0 Crystal Palace.
Oh, well, there you go. So tell you how long ago that was. And then we've lost to Villa after that. We've lost to Brentford. And we're now away to Leeds. Now, Leeds are fighting for their lives, for Premiership survival. So to have any chance of surviving, they need to win tomorrow's match, don't they? And, for those who are looking at Tottenham are thinking, okay, fine, do we really need conference league football next year, or should we just sort of kiss the season goodbye and just let things the way they be, and hopefully just let things go? I don't know. What do you guys think? Zeus, I know you have this view about the season, and where you think we should be. What do you think? Should we go for Conference League or just lose to Leeds or just play for pride? Where do you stand on that? Oh, Zeus is gone. What's going on? I don't know what's going on with Zeus in Leicester. Jennifer, what's your view on this one?
So, Jay, I almost had to laugh when you say, should we play for pride? Because I don't think we have any of that at the moment, And I'm telling you, Leeds have everything to play for, and they're going to come out fighting. And I don't think we have that fighting spirit at the moment. Look at a team that has scored 66 goals. This season, fantastic. But what, we've let 62 in. That means if we score 100, we let also 100 in. So I honestly, I'm not expecting much from the team tomorrow. I'm sorry, I'm not expecting. It'd be a surprise, and I hope people in my house will be laughing at me again tomorrow. But however, something just has to give. Something has to change. We can't continue this way. Our defense. I mean, we don't even have any tactic at the moment. We're just playing. Last time I was here, I was chatting into the show. And I said it's better we don't even qualify for any external competitions. No competitions. No UEFA. No Champions League. Let's just focus on rebuilding the team. That's exactly what we need right now. We don't need any distractions. Just focus on having a team and a coach that actually knows what he's doing, and not one that is cooking an alphabet soup every week, changing tactics every week. We don't, we need a team that can actually gel together, a good defense, a midfield that is solid. I mean, our striker, next season, most likely we won't have Hurricane. So we even have to focus on the attack as well. So for tomorrow, not much hope. But in the summer, I hope that our tight fist-handed owners will actually release some money and make some good decisions.
Yeah, we'll come to that in a minute. But thanks for that lovely summary. I love how you said that you were laughing when I said they're playing for pride. Like pride? What's that? Anyway, Chuma. But we still haven't found zeros. Let's see if we can find more. Carry on. I mean,
No, I just to piggyback on what Jennifer said. Like, things are bad when your family members think you're even beneath them, trolling you. They can't even be bothered to insult me. That's how deep it is. They can't be bothered to insult me. They just look at me, shake their heads, and they move on. This including the children. You just shake your head and move on. Nobody cares. That's where Tottenham are right now. Tottenham are, like you said, pride. What pride? They have no pride. They have nothing. And to piggyback again on Jennifer's other point, he's an NYSC coach. That's what Mason has become. Mason is doing youth service with us. It's like you've left your company in the hands of a copper. And that's where he is now, and it's unfortunate, but Leeds have everything to play for. They have a coach that's just going to go physical, attack Spurs, and I know we're going to come to lineups very soon. I heard Romero isn't playing. The unfortunate Dyer isn't playing as well. So if you have these things, then who is going to play in defense? I have no idea. I have no clue, and quite frankly, I can't see anything coming out of this game. At best, like I always told you last week as well, I told you I wanted a draw. I couldn't see us really winning. Same thing happened now. So
interesting. Jennifer, I know, let's just have a quick look at this one and say, just for a minute, and just think, here you are, you're the Spurs coach, right? And we're here, we are where we are now. You're interim, you are like, I mean, okay, we don't know what's going to happen. And everyone's like, I mean, having all sorts of guesses as to what things are going to look like and all that, And then you come in, you're meant to sort of make a difference to this team. I mean, given on the last day of the match, what would be your approach if you were the coach, Jennifer?
I would clear everybody out and bring in my youth team. Bring in, we have an academy. I will bring them in. Because something, academy players are actually very, very disciplined because they all want to make it into the big time. I remember a young Wayne Rooney that came in and killed the Arsenal run years ago. Remember, he was 17. Bring in some of those young, hungry guys and put these old guys to rest. That's what I would do for the last game, because it doesn't really mean anything to us anymore. But it would give some young players an opportunity to shine.
Beautiful. Zeus, I think you're back with us now. Can you hear us, Zeus?
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Zeus has gone 007, hasn't he?
The sun is shining in Leicester.
I know, right? The sun is shining
Yeah,
in Leicester.
it is sunny.
Yeah, so, I mean, Zeus, we had this discussion. I don't know if you heard part of it when I was asking Jennifer. As I said to her, look, you are the coach. What approach would you take for the next match against Leeds? And I mean, she said, look, I mean, it's just a clear I should go for and just field your team members, nothing to lose, and and of course we have, I mean, things like obviously injuries to some players who have been key over the course of the season. So if you were the coach for tomorrow, what would you do, Zeus?
To be the coach for tomorrow. Anyway, I think whatever players we field tomorrow, I think we're gonna win tomorrow's game because Leeds, they are very open and they are porous. So I think there are gonna be much goals tomorrow, and I'm just gonna try new players tomorrow. I think just try new players, make it like a practice game. Let everybody try their own methods, and there's nothing to play for, there's nothing to gain, there's nothing to lose tomorrow. So let them play with an open mind, and I know they'll win tomorrow. That's the bad thing about the team. When you don't want them to win, they win. When you want them to win, they won't win.
This is great. This is interesting, right? I know that. I mean, as a Tottenham fan, even if we are where we are, right, people will still slaughter you if you don't win a game, regardless of what's running in that game. And if he loses that game tomorrow, trust me, it will go down in his history as having lost however many games in the time that I was there. I mean, looking back at history, if you like, let's go back and look at history for a minute, right? Coming into this match, this is the 10th time we're meeting Leeds. In the last 10 times we've met them, right? We've won 8 times and we've drawn twice. So we've won 8 times, drawn once, and lost only once against them. Guess when that was? 2011. And who was the manager then? It was 2021. Who was that? It was Ryan Mason. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was the last time we lost. They won against us. Obviously within the last 10 games. So this is going to be the 11th game. So in terms of omens, it can go both ways. They haven't won against us in God knows how long. So, like you said, Leeds are very open. They can be sort of tired, given that brush of what's the word? Porous, right? But you have Mr. Aladiche as the that's sorry about the joke, but you know what I'm talking about. Sam Allardyce, who's coming, right? I mean, of course, there's all sorts of stuff going on in the press and people making fun about what he said, about his ability or knowledge of football in comparison to the likes of the very best in football today, the Mourinho's, the Peps and all that, and Klopps, and that he knew as much as, if not more than those people, But I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the whole context of that interview hasn't been quite revealed, but it hasn't quite lived up to that knowledge base, if you like. I'm shaking your head, Chuma. Tell me what you want to say.
No, this is what happens when people like Okocha help your team and they make you think you're better than you are. He's riding on the fact that JJ Okocha, Djokayev, and the rest were playing for his Bolton team. And those guys actually knew how to play football. And it made him look good. After that, he's just been riding that wave. He's a firefighter. He doesn't coach. He just puts British stuff out, hammers. They say he cannot last a season where he will top anybody, but he's what they need now. And he's getting a bonus as well. That's the thing that is important. If they win this game, I think he makes anything up to £500,000 or something like that to keep them up extra. So that can change a man's life,
Interesting. I mean, looking at the let's just have a quick look at what you might call the potential Spurs. Let's just have a quick look at the form guide. Coming up to this match, and both teams have been dire. So there's no way of even trying to sort of make it look nice or however you want to put it, right? So have a look. We have. We've played 6 matches, last 6 matches, right? We've lost 4. 1-1 and drawn 1. They've lost 4 and drawn 2. So 2 points on last 6 matches. Thankfully, we have maybe double that, but it doesn't quite paint the whole picture. Chuma, you're very what's the word? You know this form guide like the back of your hand. Talk us through it.
Well, it's self-explanatory. The red tells you how bad both teams are poor. Both teams are really doing badly. Spurs aren't any better than Leeds defensively, especially. I think it speaks of their defenses. Look at Spurs and look at Leeds. We're conceding goals in bucketfuls of goals, and Allardyce tried. I think the only thing Allardyce did for them was Allardyce gave them a way of playing, and his way of playing sort of galvanized them a bit. But it's still very open when it comes up against tactical managers. They still tear them apart. And unfortunately for Tottenham don't have a tactical manager. We're not playing according to any vision or any structure. Look at the teams he's played. Look at the teams leading. Newcastle, maybe you just say Newcastle could have no structure. We have no pattern of play or anything. So that's why I'm not holding out much hope. At best, a draw. At best.
Interesting.
Poor defense. And they have opportunities to get in. They have quite good attackers, to be honest with you. If Allardyce plays his attackers, our defenders, from what I gather, Romero isn't playing. Romero isn't playing tomorrow. Dyer, who is Dyer by name, Dyer by nature,
oh dear,
he isn't there as well. So all you have is Longley and our good friend, or Zeus's good friend, Davison Sanchez. Those are the two people who are going to be centre backs: Sanchez and Longley, or Singlet, as Mr. Zeus has erstwhile termed him. Singlet and Sanchez will not put the fear of God into any striker in the world. So we're going to concede. But we have Kane and we have Son who can run in behind and they can score. So it just depends on how it evens out. I just think it will even out.
All right, fair enough. So, Mommy Joe, as we like to call Jennifer. Jennifer, tell me what do you think? I mean,
so I was just looking at, I just did a quick look at the goals conceded. We conceded 15 goals in the last 6 matches, and Leeds have conceded 14. So it can go anyway. I'm not really, I'm emotionally downcast. This is not. It's not really. I think Chuma has said it. We don't really have any formation. Forget that there's some history around the coach and playing Leeds. I mean, I already said it before. We don't have anything to play for. We don't have, not even pride, and Leeds are going to come out fighting. Forget that they too don't really have any structure or anything. But if it means they're going to have to injure Hurricane and take him out, they will do it because they have everything to play for. Not only are they going to play to stay, I mean, it's financial. There's a lot of money hanging on this game for them. Because if they stay in the Premiership, there's a lot of money that comes with it. So for them, they're going to tell them, go out and kill who you can kill. That's what's going to happen tomorrow. And we will come out playing our lackluster game. And I can tell you, we're going to concede a goal in the first 5 minutes. Just like we've always done, it might not be 3 goals in the first 10 minutes. We're going to concede in the first 5 minutes. Because people just go on the field and it seems like they don't even know where they are or what they've come to do. So it's been a terrible season, and really for me, I just want the game to be over. Let Leeds stay up, and we really, I mean, even if we win tomorrow, and Aston Villa win, we're not even going to change our position. We're still in the same position. It's better than the years when we used to come 9th, 10th, and 11th. But this is not where we belong. I mean, look, we have a big new stadium. We have this, we have that. That's all we're known for, a good stadium, but I don't see us coming out and playing any better than we have in the last 6 games.
Very interesting points you've made, Jennifer, and it's very difficult to argue against. I mean, it's one of these things where, as a team, you've kind of almost like lost that edge, if you like. I mean, I know Chuma and I always talk about this, having an identity. And if as a team you don't have an identity that you can point to as say, okay, this is how Tottenham play. You know, Tottenham on the porch, for instance, right? You knew that we're high energy, high buzzing. You know, they feared no team. You know, I mean, you used to go to games almost like confident that you will win every game. That was how I was as a Tottenham fan when we had Poch. You know, I didn't feel like, oh, Man U are coming. My own is like, Man U are coming. We're beating them. You know, it's not even like, you know, they should be the ones that are in, you know, walking in fear. But these days, we can't really say we got an identity, and this is where we kind of have to do a bit of looking at the scorecard over the course of the season and where we are up to now. But we'll come back to that in a minute. I mean, in terms of injury and lineups for tomorrow, I know there's a lot of stuff around how we just have a quick look at see who and who we've got available, and then we'll see how people what's the word what's that expression I'm looking for here? How the whole team lines up in comparison to what the resources that we have available. Bear in mind that at the same stage last season, we were away to Norwich, right? We ended up winning 5-0. Even though if we had lost that match, maybe Arsenal might have had a chance to, you know, get ahead of us. You know, but this time around, we're coming into a match where even if we win, we're not even guaranteed anything in Europe. I mean, like we've said here, like, okay, some people will say that, what are we even thinking of doing in Europe? But for me, I think one of the keys about football is ideally people try to get the best possible results that they can get when you're playing in these sort of matches. And if you don't want to give more than your utmost. And if your utmost is not good enough, fine. At least you're giving it. But the key is that you have to give your utmost. I don't see why this match should be any different. So I mean, which is why I said, okay, fine, we will not qualify for Europe, but at least let's give it our best shot. You look like you want to say something, Zeus. Zeus, you look like you want to say something. Or did I misinterpret your expression?
No, I didn't want to say anything.
Oh, you didn't want to say anything? Okay. But have you got any comment though in terms? I mean, in addition to what I've just said.
Like I said earlier, there's nothing to play for. We don't need Conference League next season. We don't need Europe. We just need to we need to reset and go to our default settings, find our footstep. The chairman should reassess himself. He knows where he has gone wrong. The chairman needs to reassess himself. He knows where he has gone wrong. Yeah. The game of football shouldn't be all about making money. I think back in the days, football wasn't all about money. The pride was in the glory of a team, what you're able to win for your team, what the fans are going to celebrate. The fans can't celebrate balancing of books. They need to brag. That's it. Okay. We need to brag. Okay. We need trophies. Okay. So for tomorrow's game, I know we're going to win. I know. I can say we're even going to win 3-1. Okay. So it's...
Guys predicting
they're going to score us, and we're going to score 3 tomorrow. You're going to see the game tomorrow.
And
so, but... Sorry, you said something?
No, carry on. I mean, I was saying I love your optimism, but you can carry on. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, you love Martin. Okay. No, tomorrow's game, Leeds, it's not a difficult game for Tottenham any day, anytime. So if you look at the data available, Tottenham versus Leeds head-to-head, it's almost like a goal feast. So I know I believe Tottenham is gonna win the game. I'm gonna win the game tomorrow, but the future ahead, it's not really bright. It's not really bright. If
Interesting.
we are to say the truth about our club, if we are to say the truth about the management of Tottenham, they we can give them a lot of pass mark in other aspects of investments. But when you come to the footballing aspect of Tottenham, the rating is so low. The rating is so low, irrespective of the love you have for the management or the board. Their rating on the footballing aspect is very low. Look at the players we have. We can't boast of 5 players that we can really sell to make good money from the team. Our other teams, looking at our players, well, who would they want to sign from our team? Our players are aging. The squad is aging. It needs to be overhauled, like from the goalie to the striker. 11 good players. We need them. I know it's gonna be a gradual process, but the thing is, when you take it slowly, other teams are going ahead of you. Other teams are in the game. They know what's in the game for them. So if you're taking one step, they're already taking 3 steps ahead of you presently. So we just need to do something quick and fast before it's too late for Tottenham Hotspur. We return to mid-table. That's the gospel truth.
It's an interesting take. Zeus is brought on here. I mean, I know that this is part of what we're going to discuss in the second part of this program, which is to obviously look ahead and look at what we've done so far in this season, and obviously what we're hoping to do for so far. Hold your horses there for just a minute. We'll come back and debate a few of the points that you made. The point about the investment being focused more on stability, financial stability, as opposed to success on the pitch, and also the fact that maybe our squad needs a total overhaul, and maybe that we probably don't have the quality that we need in key areas to take the team forward. And of course, we'll examine that in a bit more detail as well. But let's just have a quick look, if you don't mind, at what the lineups we'll for tomorrow. I've just kind of put this up. We'll obviously maybe make a few changes here and there, but I mean, first time goal, that's a given, because obviously Lloris is injured. Because I think as it is now, in terms of injuries, we have I understand Romero is injured. I understand that Højbjerg is back in training, even though he got injured in the Villa game. And also, obviously, Dyer is undergone surgery on his groin, so he won't be back until on the preseason. Otherwise, everybody else apart from Bentancur, who has a long-term injury, is available for selection. So obviously, we'll probably make a few changes here as we go along. But if we look at what we have here, I mean, on back, if we assume they play the normal system of 3 at the back, and then 2 wing backs, and obviously 2 people in the midfield and 3 up front. How do you see this team lining up? Jennifer, do you have any views? I know that Emerson will be out of the equation. So we're good on Foster, right? So let's look at Emerson. Let's remove Emerson for a minute and say he's not there. Yes.
So you mean Romero, not Emerson?
So Romero. Yeah, Romero is injured. So, and of course, Dyer isn't playing. So we're left with potentially Sanchez, Longley, and Emerson as the centre backs here. Who would have thought of Emerson as a centre back at the beginning of the season? At this year of the season, I mean, Jennifer, I don't know if you were in the Emerson must go brigade or Emerson, skirting Emerson brigade. Were you ever part of that group, if you like?
I was not part of that group. The thing is, we just need to find a winning formula. That's all. And looking at it here, how is this defense different from any defense we've had? I'm not very excited, as you can see, but all we need a general at the back there. That's what we need. I don't know. Somebody who can actually control the team as a center back and be a general out there. That's what we need. But I'm not sure we really have that here. If somebody tomorrow can pick up that role and hold a tight defense, let's even park a bus tomorrow to then this might just work. And Emerson, as much as people were laughing about Emerson, he might come out and just surprise us tomorrow. He might.
Okay.
So that's my take on it. But we just need these guys to stitch each other, to basically be there for each other, talk. I think that's what's not happening there. We don't have any communication at the back there, and people are generally playing their own game. Let me just add something. I know you're not going to get there, and I know we always say Hurricane plays to get the golden boot every season and whatnot, but what else should he do? He can play midfield and defense and also be the goalkeeper. He's there to score goals, and that's what he will do.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jennifer. I think you're right. I mean, obviously, someone needs to sort of show some leadership in the team. But let's just have. I mean, we're looking at the at the setup at the minute. So we have Emerson at the back, Sanchez, maybe Longley on the left hand side, and then what do we do on the wing backs? Is it going to be Davis and Porro or Perisic and Porro?
I think Perisic, because this could be his swan song goodbye. I think he's leaving at the end of the season. So okay. I think Mason will give him one last game, and then he can go.
Right.
I personally think it's
as a starter or as a substitute.
I think as a starter, honestly. So even though we're saying Emerson, Longley, and Emerson, Sanchez, and it could end up being Emerson, Longley in that middle, and Davis as the third center back, and then play Perisic and Porro. Like, just go back to what it was under Conte. And this is another thing that annoys me is when Mason's system wasn't working, my opinion was go back to what Conte did, but just do it better than the guy. You were there for every training session, so surely you saw what the guy was doing. Just go back. But his ideas haven't worked as well as they should have. And then this is another debit on Daniel Levy's account. The fact that everybody apparently knew that Dyer was carrying an injury from the World Cup, and you did not buy a center back in January, then you're evil. That's all I'll say. Daniel Levy is an evil guy. If you knew your central center back was injured from the World Cup, everybody in Tottenham's medical center knew. You didn't try and buy a center back, then there's something wrong with you.
But would you really say he's evil? I think the question to ask Levy would be, what do you really want to do with this team? What do you want from this team? And if he doesn't really have any plans, he should sell it and let someone else who is ready to bring in a winning formula bring it. But sorry, Soji, do we really think that because someone is leaving, we should give them one last game?
Well,
would that be playing to win?
Yeah, well, if you agree that the game means nothing, then you can do send off. You can play juniors and you can play send off matches. Might as well.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, fans pay a lot of money to go and watch team win, not to give us exhibition matches. I mean, it's if you think about it, I mean, that's what would annoy a fan. If I paid money to go all the way to Leeds to watch my team win, and they come and put together a lackluster side when you know that, I mean, you had other people who were better placed to win a match. I would not be happy,
Well, after you get angry, they'll refund your tickets like they did against Newcastle.
You know how much money you have made from refunds from the Spurs players this season in this run-in.
I know. But having said that, though, I mean, so we're looking at that back line looks more or less set in stone, right? So leave outside Perisic, presumably, okay. And we have Porro, Emerson, Sanchez, Longley, and Davis, right? Given that we don't really have much choice in terms of who else we can play, yeah, presumably. So, and that middle two would still remain Højbjerg and Bissouma, or would it be Højbjerg and Skip, or Bissouma and Skip?
Skip's mistake last game makes Mason has been avoiding playing players that made the mistakes the previous game. That's why he dropped Dyer the previous one and all that. So I think Skip made a bad mistake in that Brentford match. I think he's dropped.
So you think it's going to be Bissouma and Højbjerg, presumably?
Bissouma and Højbjerg, yeah.
All right, that attack, we have plenty of choices a few choices to make. You can either, obviously, Kane is almost like a dead set in there. I think the changes could possibly be between Kulusevski and Son, and bring in maybe Richarlison for either of them, or take back both of them and bring in Richarlison and Danjuma. What do you guys think?
Danjuma is not playing again. They gave him his one. He's not playing again. He's not playing again. Danjuma got his one shot. He's not playing again.
You reckon? Okay. Richarlison?
Bench. For me, bench.
Okay. Jennifer, what do you reckon? Bench or starter?
Yeah, I think that's even being kind if you say bench, if you see how he played in the last match, So I agree with Chuma. The furthest end
dressing room.
Okay. Zeus.
Me, I don't have any preference on the lineup because aside our attack, the other parts of the pitch, it's just like you're removing one dross to bring in another dross. They're all the same. So there's no better one there to come in.
Right. So you're saying that, you don't really mind who starts, either Kulusevski?
I don't really mind who starts tomorrow.
Right. So that looks like potentially what our setup looks like for tomorrow. Foster in goal, Emerson, Sanchez, Longley, Porro, and Davis as wing backs. And in the middle of the park, we've got Bissouma and Højbjerg holding midfielders, and Kulusevski, Kane, and Son. If you think you agree with our lineup, let's hear your comments. And if you don't agree, let's see what you have in mind as an alternative to this lineup. We look forward to you if you leave your comments in the comment section below. Now, this is where it gets really, really, really interesting. And I say interesting because we've had a lot of debates over the course of the season about, here we are, we've got Tottenham, who at the end of last season, right, everybody involved with the club came away with a real strong sense of next season is going to be really, really good because we've had a very fantastic run, winning 10 of the last 14 games on a winning streak, right? On top of that, we obviously got into the Champions League, and then you have, in quote, a world-class coach. And then to top it all, Levi actually spent money in the summer early. You had all the players that you needed apart from maybe one or two. And most, if not all of the people that we bought went on the season tour. It has never happened before in our history, So from a positive perspective, from a high vibes or looking good perspective, it looked like we were really going to do really well this season, So what went wrong, guys? Tell me. Chuma, you want to go have a go first?
Sorry, what went wrong with the season?
Yeah, because,
or with everything.
Okay, so yeah, we can look at every element of how things unraveled over the course of the season. But I'm saying that at the beginning of the season, who would have thought that we will be where we are today? At the start of the season, everyone was like guaranteed top 4 at the minimum. If things go really well, we'll probably be challenging for maybe second or in the odd, what you might call stratosphere, you perform above what you might call your station, maybe challenge for the title, but it was always going to be at least top 4 at the minimum, and comfortably 2 as well, given where we were coming from last season. Or is it me?
It was for me. I told you before. It started in that pre-season when Bissouma and Foster tested positive for COVID. and they flew all the way to South Korea. And then I was expecting Bissouma to join his team early, and I had such high hopes for the midfield with Bissouma inside. I expected Højbjerg to get out of the club. I'll be very honest. That was my dream. Was Højbjerg should just remove himself slowly or be benched, and then Bissouma and Bentancur would be the two in the middle. All of a sudden, Bissouma arrives in England, and then Antonio Conte starts saying the guy is not adapting to my system, and I'm thinking this is the guy who blew us away in Brighton, playing against your two central midfielders he started. When he started saying stuff like that, little red flags started appearing, and then the whole score the goals, second half or first half would concede, second half will come back. And people were saying it. I turned the blind eye to it. I say, no, the fact you can still come back is something. Those are all the red flags. Those are the red flags. Yes, we had high hopes coming in. Yes, we concluded our transfers early. But just to point out later, it's one thing to conclude your transfers early. It's another thing to buy the players that the guy wanted. You know? So what's the point in praising buying the players when we now find out months later, they say, well, he didn't really want Bissouma. He really didn't want Richarlison, even though he made the phone calls to those players, which I find very odd. You still call them, but you say, oh, well, he works for Tottenham. Daniel Levy made him make the calls. And that's where it all started. It's like we don't really know what the truth is or what the thing is. And Daniel Levy is not without blame. I always state it. I've said this to Zeus a million times in our arguments. I agree. But there is something about having a head coach who has a vision and then he's adaptable. I've worked for many companies where the CEOs adapt their structure if things are not working. If you're not making profit, you find a way to make a profit. But the guy kept on, no, my way, my way, my way, my way. And you could see it wasn't working. Teams had figured out how to play him from last year to this year. That's my opinion. But, you know, yes, the players weren't good. Yes, Daniel Levy didn't buy him the players. But goodness, you could have gone to the junior team. You could have even shown him up by bringing junior players that are better than the players you had. And they have kids in our youth team that are as good. I watched the under-23s. I've always watched the under-23s for years. There are some kids that are amazing. I feel can take out Davies, can take out Sanchez. Their boys are centre-backs are brilliant. Never try them. And now you've seen our youth team has won everything, under-17s, under-18s, only the under-23s. And why? Because he plucked them to use them in training. They weren't training with the other 23s. He was using them as training cones, Antonio Conte. So for me, there's a lot of blame behind the scenes, including the coaching as well. And that's why we're matched on top four. But if we had known the truth behind the scenes, there's no way we would have thought top four, but not as bad as we are now, to be honest. That's my view.
All right. So I hear you. Jennifer, you look like you want to say something.
No, I totally agree with Chuma. You know, I said it at the beginning. You asked me what would I do if I were the coach. And I said I would clear them all out and bring in the youth team because those guys are hungry, you know. And this is the issue I had with the coach. It was my way or the highway. And at some point, all of us were on the highway and there was no way anymore. You know, what exactly is this system that he wanted? No, I mean, what exactly is this system that he wanted Bissouma to adapt to?
I love that.
You know, there was no system.
My
I mean,
way, highway.
you change it.
There was no way for anyone.
Everybody was on the highway, you know, and if you know you can't adapt to a system, then you know if you know you have good staff and they can't adapt to a system, then you have to find a way to to make it in such a way that they can adapt because they're good. And like it's what Truman said, you can't be the CEO and nobody can, and it's your way and no one can adapt to you. You will lose everything you have. And I think that's what we've done.
All right. So and I hear what everyone is saying, right? But how about this? Let's sort of have a little bit of a spin on this and see. Fine. I mean, for me, like you said, I thought perhaps Conte could have done a little bit better with the team that he had at his disposal. Given, okay, probably not world beaters in terms of ability or competence, but in terms of what you might call even if you want to sort of say in kind of quality, right? If you did a what I call some sort of analysis of a quotient of what the quality of, maybe you want to say quality of players are based on where they are at the beginning of the season and where they are now. You compared our team to Brighton's starting 11. Would you say our team was better than theirs or better than us? I would say on paper, they probably will have a lot more people will have players on our side, on our team, rather than on the Brighton team at the beginning of the season. So, what am I saying? I'm saying that that's on the one hand. On the other hand, if you look at a number of our players, right, and the team, Lloris single-handedly, right, had the highest number of errors leading to goals as a player in the league this season. Here you go. And I can point to a few other players within that team who the individual errors cost us a lot of games during this course of the season, right? Add to that the fact that Son's form had not really been up to what we had last season. I mean, Son, Golden Boot last season, nowhere could be found this season, right? Add the fact that Kulusevski, who was on fire at the end of last season, got injured very early in the season, so he couldn't play any part. Richarlison also got injured. So, and then of course Bissouma himself too got injured, as well as Bentancur. So you have key elements in that team that would have given us what I call the difference, and add the individual errors to it. It was just a cacophony of things that, if like the classic Murphy's Law, right? However, some people will say that if you think about it, every team has injuries over the course of the season. Every team, major team, will have injuries, and it's how you cope, what the depth of your squad looks like that enables you to get over the line, and how you use your squad. So from my perspective, right, and then if you also look at it, by the time Conte left, guess what? We're still in fourth. So even though we're playing so bad and all that sort of thing, we still kept that fourth position. How we did it, I haven't got a clue. But things just went south since he left. So it tells you something. Okay, he might not know what he's doing in terms of, he could have done a lot better with what he had. And I in my view, I felt that he blew up the whole place. That's my own perspective, because your temperament could have been a lot better in terms of, because you gave the chairman absolutely no choice but to let you go. Yeah, essentially, I mean, like Simon Jordan said, you didn't have the courage to resign and said if you weren't happy with it, go. But you just put the club, or you put yourself in an untenable position and you didn't resign, so they had to fire you. So that's in itself. And then you think to yourself, okay, who comes in at that stage of the season? We still have quite a few matches to play at that point in time, right? Who comes in? I mean, I'm not sure they were able to find anybody who was ready to come in. And I don't know what the structure of getting a new manager looks like. But I mean, it wasn't like we had plenty of and hoping that things will get better, and they haven't gotten better since then. So it's a difficult one. I mean, from a leadership perspective, if you I mean, do you agree with me, Jennifer? I mean, with my
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you, Sergio, but look at it. If you drive a Ferrari, right, and you have a flat tire and you don't have a spare, where are you going to go? You're not going
Ferrari.
anywhere, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at one of the best cars. You have a flat tire and you don't have a spare, you're not going to go anywhere. That's exactly how it is. You have to actually plan for your players to get injured. There has to be a backup plan. Yeah, and if everybody has players that have players that are out for some time because they're injured. I mean, this was an exceptional season because for the first time, instead of having a winter break, the players played a World Cup, and that actually should have been taken into consideration. Quite a few players were going to play much more than they would. They would have no break, no play, no camp, nothing, no time to rehabilitate, go for a World Cup, come back and continue playing a Premiership. You have to plan for things like that. And it wasn't planned for. Not at all. And as for Conte, yeah, we were in fourth, but I mean, he, like you said, he blew up the whole place. But when you come in as a coach after that, and you know exactly what kind of system just put your ego, let your ego not overtake you, or let it not be bigger than you, and continue playing that system. But no, what did
Agree.
Mason do?
Agree.
He wanted to play his own system.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree with Sister Jo there, because the thing that was so interesting was from like I oscillate between hating Daniel Levy and respecting him, because sometimes I look at Daniel Levy and I think to myself, what else could the guy have done? Like, we come out and we say things against that. I just said evil there, and I repent of that. I'm really sorry for saying evil. But the thing about the guy is, spend money, he spent money. Chase big coach, he has chased big coach, you know? And it's like he's done everything fashionable. It's like when you're younger and, so and so shoe is raining in you go and buy the shoe. Now you buy the shoe is out of fashion. You finally get the money, you buy the clothes. The clothes is this, you buy this car, the car is no longer, or the car gets spoiled. It's everything bad that can happen has happened to Daniel Levy as owner of Tottenham. Many other clubs have done what he's done and succeeded. But my whole thing has always been, like, I was telling a friend of mine the other day that if you look at Liverpool, you look at Aston Villa. I work with Liverpool fans and I work with Villa fans. They hate their ownership. They absolutely hate FSG in Liverpool. They hate the American guys that own Villa. But the thing is, those guys got themselves two coaches that are, in my opinion, world class. Emery for Villa and Klopp. Getting Klopp was the best thing those guys did in their entire ownership. This was getting Klopp. Klopp is the kind of coach that looks at what he has and he adapts everything. He has his own way of playing, but when he notices it's not working, he moves. For me, Antonio Conte was inflexible. The fault that we were not winning teams, we were not blowing them away, we were not doing anything great or fantastic. However, he could have looked at things and changed things, little things here and there, in my opinion. And then when we stopped winning, or when he left, I think the sense behind getting Stellini was, Daniel Levy thought this guy is going to keep it exactly how Conte kept it. That was the sense. It is the kind of move, I look at, if you're a businessman, you want continuity. You
Yes.
just keep Stellini, but it was a mistake. That I think was the only reason that Stellini will play the same, but he just wouldn't give us the press conferences that would kill us. It was the press conferences were killing the PR of Daniel Levy. This man will come on, like, literally, I wrote a piece on it on my blog. I wrote that the guy was blowing hot and cold in his press conference. Sometimes he'll cuss. You don't know if he's cussing the ownership, if he's cussing out the players. Then when we win, he will say, no, I used it as motivation. And it was Daniel Levy couldn't understand. And then that's why, it got to the point, well, let's get a version of the man. Stellini doesn't like to talk. Stellini is like a zombie. He just comes in, does his thing. But unfortunately, it backfired, because once Conte wasn't there, I think the players sense there's no leadership. And players, once they get that thing of there's nobody really steering the ship, we can calm down a bit. They were afraid of Conte. A lot of those players were afraid of him. They can all come and start talking now. I didn't like what he said. Where were you saying all that when he was in charge? Not one of them. Højbjerg never even made a statement. Now Højbjerg is giving interviews talking about how, I didn't like the situation. Where were you when Conte was there? Conte had this iron fist rule. That's why they stayed fourth. The minute he left, the players had nothing to fear. Then Mason came in, like Sis J.O. said, he came in and then he tried to do too many things too quickly to get them attacking, all that stuff. All he needed to do was just maintain. And that's where we are now, is we're now looking for a new coach. I personally believe that Daniel Levy can exist if he can just get himself this one coach that understands. The coach doesn't have to be the greatest coach in the world. He just understands how to just structure Tottenham to just get them playing. The rest will sort itself out. And this time, unlike Pochettino's time, he won't make a mistake a second time. I don't think Daniel Levy will make a mistake twice. If he gets another Pochettino, he will never waste it again.
So we are where we are now, right? If we look across the squad, and like Jennifer said, I mean, if she was in charge, she would play Claire Wonals and play the youth, right? Now, and I kind of wrote this little Twitter piece, if you like, to in reply to what someone posted about how do you feel about where we are now as Tottenham, you know, and if you want to sort of I kind of say, look, at the end of the day, for me, everyone has a share in the blame, you know, and by that I mean everyone, from the fans who put pressure on the board when time things are not going too well. They're not patient. They sort of heap abuse on the board, on the players, and the team, and the coach, and everybody else. I think, you know, we're rubbish, right? So that puts pressure, you know, on the team. Mr. Levy pulls out the bag, send the coach away, and find another one, and it's rinse and repeat, you know. So there's that element. There's the element of Mr. Conte, who, I mean, if you think about it, on the back of Mourinho, okay, you had a bit of interregnum of having Nuno in between, right? But like you said, what else can Daniel Levy do? Given where we are, the fact that we don't have the same level of funding or finances that the other teams around us who are what you might call of similar ilk or capacity, if you like, you know, have. We don't have a sugar daddy like Chelsea or the you know, and we're not going to get the debt the way Man U are in debt now. Man U are owing nearly £1 billion, if not more, right? So you're thinking to yourself, we cannot even get in that position. If we're going to owe money at all, it's going to be with the system we built, you know. And that for me is the master stroke in Mr. Levy's policy. If you run a business before, I want people say, "Oh, business and football are not the same." Yes, of course they're not the same. If you don't have an efficiently running business, you won't have a football club because there'll be no wages. There won't be any money to run the club and provide the kind of structure that you want to see in place that's sustainable over the long term. You know, that you can come back in 10 years' time, the club will still be running, and you still get good players based on a foundation, right? But when people say, "Oh, it's just go out and buy this person, buy that person, splash money at it," right? And I look at it and say, look, it's easy to say those things from where we are, sitting down as podcasters or pundits, and you know.
Sorry for interjecting, Soji. Richarlison, what's happening on the group regarding Richarlison? Remember when we bought Richarlison for 60 million?
Yes.
Everybody was shouting it was great. Mr. Gamble, God bless you, sir. What Mr. Gamble saying about Richarlison? He's slandering the boy's name. But everybody shouted, go and buy a striker.
Yep.
Daniel Levy bought a striker. Chelsea wanted Richarlison. Real Madrid wanted him too.
You know?
Yeah, so...
Ndombele. What happened? Ndombele
exactly. All of them were praising Ndombele when he arrived. Everybody on that group shouted Ndombele was Dembele's replacement. Blah, blah, blah. When he flopped...
55 million on Lo Celso. Lo Celso also blew up. So I'm thinking to myself, look, honestly, you have to look at some of these things. Okay, fine. Ultimately, somebody's got to... But it's not always about blame game in this in football. I think some of it has to do with patience, right? Letting things pan out, and you know, just don't rush into making decisions. And that's lack of patience, if you want to call it that, one of those things that have led us where we are now. You know, and then you have Conte coming in and totally blown out the place. You know, because of his own, you know, for me, I think he did us the most disservice this season, honestly. I think personally, his temperament, the way he handled the whole situation of the players he had at his disposal, you know, and the way he kind of was like, what you might call, playing politics with all of the players, like the Jet Spence and Danjuma and all those sort of players, right, who you bought and you're not using them, right? Of course, that's, and then most importantly for me, I think if anything needs to get a revamp in that club, I think it's a PR machine in that club. It's, for me, I've said it over and over again, it is totally broken. And what do I mean by that, right? Why is it only Spurs that you always hear bad news about in the news all the time? Why? You think nothing happens in those other clubs? You know, of course they have a good management team or good public relations team that deals with all of these things and nips them in the bud. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have bad news. Of course, it's how you manage the bad news in a way that doesn't project your club as a club that doesn't know what it's doing. Look at all the news that you've had in the last few days. You had Arne Slot saying that, oh, he didn't want to come, or he never had a meeting with us, and all of a sudden, oh, he had a meeting, but he decided against it. Nobody knows why he decided against it, you know? Now, Nagelsmann, we never put down Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann said, somebody said Nagelsmann said no because we didn't have director of football. You know, all sorts of stories in the press about the people who are choosing not to come. Of course, you have the classic Mourinho who knows the right moment to try and dig his own in. He says, oh yeah, Spurs are no club who never has an affinity with. Who cares? You know, who cares if you have affinity with us or not? Yeah, of course we did.
But that's the nature. That's the nature of the man. I told you before. Yeah. Mourinho is a narcissist. He's a narcissist that you can like, but he's a narcissist. There was no reason in God's green earth for him to mention Spurs in our press conference. There was none.
Yeah.
But he just decided.
This is an opportunity to have a dig at Levi. So
yeah, I think you
Mr.
could
Levi's
get a job out there.
Sorry?
I think you could get a job out there, you know, to be in that PR machine. But you know what? You said something, you know, everybody has some blame, the fans, this, that. I will never blame the fans. The fans who go out there, come rain, come shine, spend their hard-earned money to buy season tickets, you know, and get disappointed game after game after game, having everybody laugh at them. I mean, my son just came in here and said, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing a Spurs interview. He said, oh, you mean the ones that got beaten 3-1 by Brentford? Can you imagine? Can you imagine that kind of insult? I couldn't even say anything to him. I just said he should go.
No, but you can't say anything. So, that's what I get every day.
I mean, but, you know, I mean, I don't think you just have to put the blame only on the PR machine. You know, what we really need is a good technical advisory team. If you have good technical advisors, they're the ones who will tell you which coach you should get. They're the ones who will tell you which players can play with it. That's their job. That's the job of a technical team. And if you don't have that, then you can buy any player you like in the world, and they're not going to be able to fit into a team.
Yeah, but we have a technical team, don't we? I mean, come on.
But I get what Jennifer's saying, because if you look at, Jennifer, if you look at Bayern Munich structure, look at Germany and Holland. What they do that I love more than anything else is their entire executive committee are ex-players. Beckenbauer was there, Hoeneß was there. Even the two now, I heard they just got sacked. Salihamidzic and Khan, I heard they just... Yes, Rummenigge, all these guys in Holland, in Ajax is the exact same thing. Who's controlling Ajax right now? It's the former goalkeeper for Holland. He's the guy there. Overmars was there before. So in Tottenham, we have Glenn Hoddle. We have Gary Mabott. We have, even finance-wise, we have, what's that guy? Raymond Vega, the former defender. He's a big finance guy. He's a multimillionaire in a Swiss bank. Those are guys you put in your thing because they understand football. They were also players and fans of the club. But Tottenham instead have all these guys that I don't know what their job is. They are not Tottenham people as well. So when Daniel Levy does his thing, he doesn't understand what's happening. Someone like Glenn Hoddle will tell you, don't pick Mourinho because Mourinho doesn't play our kind of football. Don't pick Conte. He doesn't play our football. Find someone that plays. I always say it, and I said it to you on the show, Soji, that sacking Pochettino was not a problem. I understood it. It hurt me, but I understood. But then the mission was to get the next version of Pochettino that was still attacking. That was the thing. Instead, you went all the way around to get a different kind of manager in Mourinho. Mourinho doesn't do Pochettino, attack, press. That's nonsense. I defend. And then since then, we've been stuck in that thing. Since Pochettino, we haven't recovered. And it's because there was no vision in picking the next manager, the next thing, because he didn't have anybody that understood football with him.
Right.
And
now this is a very, very good point you've made. Leads us to the next element in the conversation, and it's this, right? So where do you go from here? So do we go for a project manager, i.e., project start from scratch again, and pick up from where Conte left us, or do we start from scratch all over and say, okay, find a project manager of the like of Pochettino, if you like, who, and this time around, support him as much as possible, of course, accompany that with a squad overhaul. But the thing about a squad overhaul is this, right? I made a list of names of people who potentially a lot of teams would rather not have but a lot of people who are Spurs related would think twice about having him back in the team. People like, for instance, if you want to have a player now, a lot of people will say, yeah, that probably head that team that people are going to leave, right? Sanchez, the likes of Ndombele, the likes of Roselso, Winks, you have Regulon, you have the young man's name, Rodon, you have possibly even Longley, Longley and Perisic. That's already 9 names already. Now, how do you get rid of 9 names in one transfer window without totally wiping out the value?
I don't think all 9 are going. So the best part of hiring I told you that I have a term called level 5 manager. The level 5 manager is the manager who, if he's a director of a company, he knows how to assemble talent. So even when he's not there, the talent can still work and produce the same output. So that's the kind of manager you're looking for, that even when he leaves the club, if you look at, sorry to keep going back to Bayern Munich, but that's an example. Bayern Munich had a manager, Ottmar Hitzfeld. Hitzfeld is a level 5 manager. Even after he left, the base of his team, Guardiola jumped on that and Guardiola used it. He won a treble before Guardiola arrived. Guardiola as well left a foundation that Ancelotti came into. So these guys leave breadcrumbs for the other guys to build. When you get that kind of manager, he doesn't get rid of everybody. He actually uses it as a redemption point. So people like Regulon, even Lo Celso, maybe even Ndombele, if you get the proper manager, I don't think he will sell them. He will tell you, keep them. I'll play better with them. So even if you're going to sell them in a year's time, you'll recoup some money. Those players are still good players. Regulon is a very good player, in my opinion. He did well for Tottenham. Yeah. It's just that he couldn't play wing back. He just couldn't play wing back for Conte. I believe he can play wing back for other people, but Conte's own my way wing back, he just couldn't play it. Doherty is now in Atletico Madrid, playing for Atletico Madrid. The same Doherty that everybody said is an idiot. I can't play it. I can't do it. He's in Atletico Madrid because the manager knows how to use him. So if you get a guy that knows how to use some of them, Sanchez, I think it's a case of his morale is gone because the fans have really, the fans have killed him. Like he's functional, but I think they've really, they've really damaged him spiritually. So I think he would want to leave anyway. But I don't think it's 9. I think it will be closer to like 4 or 5 max. And I think you can push 4 or 5 out. Then you're bringing Spence back from loan, Rodon back from loan, Hill back from loan. I think managers can use those players, in my honest opinion.
Rodon, really?
Yeah. But,
Rodon, I believe Rodon. Rodon was a good defender. He was, in my opinion. But just Mourinho didn't like him. Conte didn't like him.
Coming back to Bayern Munich, Soji, sorry, we know this is not about Bayern today. But, Bayern has a system. Bayern itself has a fundamental type of system they want to play. And like we said, all the people on the board and everybody, they're all technical people. They know what kind of game they expect to see. And then they bring in a coach that can actually play their system and improve it. We don't even have a system. Talk less of improving it. So what exactly, if we're bringing a coach in now, what exactly do we want that coach to do? That's why I come back to this technical team. Look, and anybody that's staying in the team has to sign up to be fully committed to playing, to giving their best on the field and not going out there and playing some lackluster football. That would disappoint everybody. That's it. Everybody needs to be signed up. The coach, the other thing is, if you have a coach whom the players are scared of, then he needs to go. You can't have a coach that they need to respect him, but they don't need to be scared of him. That's it. You can't force anybody to respect you. But if I'm scared of you, I'm going to start making mistakes. And then you punish me for making those mistakes, But really, if I make a serious blunder on if I made a blunder today, and you call me after the game, or you call me at halftime and talk to me about it, I will go out there even more motivated. I will never make that mistake again. But if you call me and, remember the year when Beckham got a shoe thrown at his head, yeah, then you go, But that's it. We just need, and this is where the technical team comes in. This is where they come in. Find a coach and players that can gel, and make sure the players are committed. And please don't be giving coaches 5-year contracts anymore. You know, it should be a performance-based contract. If you get to this
Yeah,
position after the
but
first year,
yeah,
this is how.
yeah, but still, but they complained about that when he gave Conte the 18 months. And I thought he was right giving Conte the 18 months. I actually thought I was one of the only few people that felt 18 months because I know Conte's history. Conte has blown up everywhere he's gone. So I'm like, give him 18 months. When he now did that thing, I said, okay, since he got us to fourth, he would be willing to sign. When he didn't sign, that was another problem. That was another red flag. You've gotten us to fourth. They've now bought players in the summer. I said, now sign the 2-year deal, sign the 3-year deal. He didn't. And I said, this is the
The
problem.
moment, since we knew of Conte's history, the moment we signed him for 18 months, we should have been on the lookout for a new coach.
For another
From
month. Yeah.
that moment when we signed him and said, look, we need someone to come in here in 18 months, because history is there and it was ready to repeat itself. And he did. He blew up the place and he left. I mean, I was reading at some point, he said he was homesick and something, something. What kind of nonsense is that? You're a coach, you're a professional, you say you're missing your
15,
family.
15
Then
million,
bring them
15
to stay
million
with
pounds
you.
a year.
15 million smackers. Listen,
And you
I'm
and
not
you
of that.
and I had the argument about football players. I said to a friend of mine that he was saying, oh, it's so difficult, these football players and the pressure. I said, if someone paid me £100,000 every week, all I had to do was I shouldn't go to club, I shouldn't drink, I shouldn't smoke. I can hire chef to cook my food, calorie counted. And you're telling me you pay me 100 grand every week and I should go to bed at 7 p.m., show up for training twice a day. I said, I will tell you how long do you want me to do that contract for? Nobody will
And you
ever
know
see
that
me.
this life, that kind of life will last for maybe 10 years. And then you're
Yes,
out and you enjoy your money.
absolutely.
No, so when he said he was homesick and and the thing I told you before, Soji, that really touched me was apparently okay, they knew he was going to go even after the explosion after the Southampton game. Daniel Levy told him, okay, just work till the end of the season. You can go. He refused to come back from Italy. That told you everything. But once again, like Jennifer said, it's straight up. It's a straight up thing. It's you knew he was like this. Everybody in the world told us this guy, if him and Daniel Levy clash, it's going to be explosive. So literally, you should either not have given him the job or you should have prepared for the 18 months. You should have gotten the next guy and told him, as soon as this guy jets, we'll just slot you in. Maybe end of the season we'll announce you. But they didn't prepare. They thought, Conte was happy. They could slide it and look at where we are now. And where do we go from here? I think he needs to get a good director of football. If he gets a very good one and gets a good coach, everything is a work in progress. But if he doesn't, if this thing runs on till July, he has till the middle of June, in my opinion, to sort this thing out. If it goes to July when they are supposed to be coming back for preseason, then there's a problem.
Ideally, I mean, from a planning perspective, I would have thought that a new director of football will be in place by now at the end of the season, so that between now and July, what they're doing is planning and targeting what players they're going to bring in, and hopefully working with the potential new coach and thinking, okay, who are we going to get rid of? Who's going to come in? What sort of system I'm going to play?
Yeah.
What the preseason going to look like? All of that sort of thing, right? I think that whoever should want to step in now has.
Which is what Chelsea are doing. Pochettino's watching Pochettino's watched the last 3 matches. So Pochettino knows who is going to stay. Pochettino knows who is going to go for Chelsea. He already knows. Yeah. He's already making moves.
So those are kind of things that I think
the thing is, as I mean, doing the analysis, Daniel Levy is not stupid. I mean, he might have made, and like you said, at the beginning of last season, he made a lot of right choices. He did a lot of things right. And maybe, just maybe, there are a lot of things in the pipeline we just don't know about. And maybe, I just like to hope that that's what it is, because he has a lot of investment, a lot of money is riding on this. And he doesn't want to be the one in the news I don't even think he cares about being in the news, bad news, Soji. So, the whole PR machine, I don't think he really cares. And maybe he even likes it because, it's shining more light on Tottenham. And some people like that, yeah, remain in the limelight. Okay, we might be seventh, but we're still relevant. People talk about us. But I believe that something is happening already. And I want to believe that there's going to be an element of surprise to all of this. And I hope it's going to be a good surprise.
I hope so.
That's what I really think. Because, I mean, there's a lot of money riding on it. And they would have already penciled who is going to go and who is going to come. You see, I really think that they can't just, nobody is going to let their
I agree.
investment just go down the drain like that. Nobody. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
because
no,
we're on the outside looking in, we think, oh, these people don't know what they're doing. But I really believe that something is going to happen. It's already happening. It's already happening.
no, no, I like that because actually the funny thing was when Slots thing went off, Soji, you put something on the group that made me laugh. You're like, you see, you people believing this clickbait because I'm on Twitter. And God help me, that Twitter of a place, you can get a heart attack and die in Twitter because the rumors that are swirling on Twitter, it's like they already know the guy has come, his plane arrived in Luton. You're really hyped up. I thought Annie Slot was literally in London, you know what I mean? And I was like, yes, I was so hyped that this one, we've gotten this one over. But Daniel Levy said he didn't lie. He said, I'm going to get a director of football and get a coach. The fact we've not had a director of football announced, how can we now have the coach? So you have to know that, yes, maybe he's testing the waters for the coach, but until he announces the director, but Twitter, all the Tottenham blogs, my goodness, everyone was, and so when he said clickbait, I was like, those guys have made money off all of us clicking on their article. And it's nonsense.
Because I just thought to myself, look, all right, like Jennifer said, on the one hand, you get really, really frustrated with all the news, and it's all negative that's going on about Spurs Tottenham. You hardly ever find any good news coming up, And you think to yourself, here we go again, right? And so I kind of just resigned myself to say, look, when they hold up the shirts and the club make an announcement, yes, I would say that's where we are, and then we can analyze it on the basis of that, on how we got there and all that sort of thing, right? But all this conjecture, all this rumor, all this supposition, the source said this, somebody said that, who, it's all, for me, it just sort of, it creates hype, creates negativity around the whole club, and it just makes the whole thing look an outright mess. Like Jennifer said, perhaps, I mean, he doesn't really care what everyone thinks, but I think it's having a quite a negative impact on the whole psyche of the supporters. I mean, at least as a fan base, there's quite a large proportion who are disillusioned, who some people have just switched up to Twitter about how things are at the moment, right? But just, I mean, I always look. I mean, you call me Optimus Primus, right? I'm always optimistic when it comes to things like this, because I know that, like you said, Levi is not a stupid man. You don't build a structure like that if you don't know what you're doing, despite what people are saying. And if you think about it, right, fans always have this very, very short memory. Jennifer, when we were going to Tottenham back in those days, right, think about it, right, were we Champions League contenders? Do we even smell this Champions League what?
We used to come 9th and 10th. That was where we were, like 10th, 11th, not even 9th.
Mid-table oblivion, if you want to call it that, right? Suddenly, it's like, Levi, if you think about it, the number of semi-finals we've been in when Levi has been there, the number of finals we've been in several finals, not just one,
And the players couldn't push it through.
Exactly. So, I mean,
nothing to do with the man.
Nothing to do with, but everyone's blaming, oh yeah, we haven't won trophy, but we put ourselves in positions, and there's no team has the the divine right to win matches. No, you got to go there and do the business on the day. No matter what Mr. Levi does behind the scenes, right? If you guys don't perform on the day, there's not much you can do. All he's just done is provide the environment for you guys to perform. The performance.
I mean, look at everyone making excuses for Arsenal now. Look at them making all the excuses. I'm like, now you understand how it feels. Tottenham have had it twice where we challenged and didn't win. You people said we're useless. We're failures. If it was Arsenal would have chased down Chelsea and won. You guys topped the league. It's not so easy. It's easy for City, Liverpool, because those guys have the history and they have the good managers, so they can move through. But Tottenham haven't had it. Arsenal, look at them. Look at how hard it was for them to win a league that they topped. They topped for 8 months. They were top. They couldn't still win. You know, so
248 days.
Look, you have to
248
let's
days to
just
top the league.
yeah,
Oh.
they top the league and everything. And Liverpool and Man City, they have the coaches. What? I mean, come on, look at Newcastle. You can have, I mean, we were on the field
but
within 10
Newcastle haven't
minutes.
won
How many
anything.
goals have been scored?
That's what I said. Newcastle haven't
How
won
many?
anything.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, the hunger of the players themselves. Not even the pride. They had no pride left this last few games. The last half of the season, I would even say. There was nothing left for them to play for, and they showed it. They didn't think they had anything left to play for. So if you like, you could have even had a young club that, well, young club would have dealt with them seriously. So, but I don't think it would have been any different. The players themselves have to actually also show that they want to win. And when they stop doing that, we've had several teams, several seasons where the players feel they don't want the coach anymore and they just stop playing. And then everybody says, oh, the coach is bad, send him away. They bring a new coach and all of a sudden you start winning again. What is that? It
No, but
doesn't show
no, no, no,
commitment
no,
from the
no. But
players to the club.
it still points to the coach. It still points to the coach, in my opinion, because you say Jurgen Klopp wouldn't have done anything. I believe, personally speaking, that
No, 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 no,
Jurgen
no.
Klopp's
I took it back. I said he would have because
he would have. Okay, yeah.
he's
So
he's
the
very
thing about all
emotional.
those other coaches we've had, they are good, but what happens is after a while, people find out your real character. It's like living with somebody. When you live with people, you don't know people until you live with them. When you live with them for 3 months, my father always had this great saying that before you marry, live with her for 3 months, you'll find out who she really is. It was a wonderful joke in my family. My mother would have strangled me if I tried that. But but the thing is like until you're with them, you will never know. Everyone loved Mourinho from the outside, but after being coached by him, I can tell you that football was turgid. It was
You know,
horrible to
Chima,
you
not
can win.
everybody, because I detest JM. I don't like Mourinho for anything. And when he came to Tottenham, it was, yeah, we were winning, so yeah, I still didn't like him, and I was glad when he left. There's something about him. There's some toxic thing about him. To me, I don't like it, and I don't think he actually was a good fit for this kind of team. This
Yeah,
team
yeah,
needs
exactly.
someone who can
He's
actually
wonderful to watch,
motivate.
but not for Tottenham.
Like you see how Jurgen Klopp is on the sideline he's almost kicking the ball himself. He's very emotional, and he's in the game, and you finish the game and he will hug you and say, well done, guy. Or he will come to you and he will say, oh, you know what, it's okay, it's okay. And not that it's okay that we lost, but it's okay, pick yourself up and we'll do better next time. And that's what we don't really have.
And that,
Somebody
and
who
that, and
can
that was
come
the
in there.
difference between Tottenham and
Maybe
Liverpool
we need to
was
bring
Jurgen
in
Klopp.
some motivational speakers, to speak to the coaches and the players. But we don't really have, I don't think we have that motivational bit. Somebody who can come in and tell you, go out there, do this, if you have to kill. And sorry, I used to be a coach. So so this is what you
You
are
need to go
there on
and
the
dig up that
sideline,
badge
and
again.
you're almost
Get your
playing
FIFA badge. Come on,
playing with the coach. You're playing with them. You're there. You see some coaches running up and down. I mean, I know on this show and in our forum we don't like mentioning our neighbors up north, in North London, our North London rivals, but look at them. The last 5 years, see from where they've come to where they are now. And at some point there was the Ateta must go club. Those people that were saying he must go, but he was consistently playing, trying out new people, but he had a system that he was trying out. And even though people are laughing at Arsenal this season, I said there's nothing to laugh at. They came second and they're going to play Champions League football. That's a lot of money in the bag, if nothing else, and they can use it to buy new players and try again next year. As people say, our trophy cabinet is still empty. We're dusting and using what's that, Brasso, to clean the old ones that are there, because they're so old, you know. But
No, no.
for me, for us, I think we even just need to get to a point where we can get back to top four and actually have the respect from other clubs. People, I mean, it used to be a big thing for Tottenham to turn up. Now it's like a joke. So remember Leeds of before. Can you remember Leeds of years ago?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And their whole, you will see that after one particular player left the club, they collapsed. And that player was Rio Ferdinand.
Yep.
Once he left, the whole thing collapsed and they were relegated. Now this
And they
season,
almost went bankrupt. Yeah.
Harry Kane is going to leave, most likely. I mean, he's going to leave, right? Are we going to go the way of Leeds? I really hope we won't.
I think that it comes down to that Jurgen Klopp guy. And so far, my two candidates, as Soji knows, were the two candidates that so far haven't worked out. Those candidates were mine, especially Julian Nagelsmann. So the same way you like German coaches, I absolutely love German football and German coaches, because I think
Jennifer's love for German stuff is more like I'm going home type thing. Not to do with what it's not. It's just this is
yeah,
all.
no. But for me, it was like everybody on the group knows I love tactics and I love all that stuff. But when I discovered German football, the thing I found out about German coaches was German coaches start earlier than everybody else, and then their system is more rigorous than any other system. So by the time they come to take the UEFA badges, the system they go through in Germany is like, it's kind of like doing O levels in Nigeria and coming to do GCSEs in England. The GCSEs in England is like nonsense exam. It's like primary school exam to a Nigerian child, So that's how the Germans
Chuma,
are
let me
when they
explain
come.
something to you. Let me explain something to you. I was a licensed referee, right? A licensed European basketball ref years ago. And when I went to do the course, I was about 20, in my early 20s. I had kids who were 12, 13 that were there doing the same course.
There you go.
Of course, we had some people who were older too, but you start looking at the potential of people. You look at the potential of coaches, you look at potential of officials, and of course players, and they start grooming them from a very early age. I was sitting on the football pitch some days ago. My son was playing. He's a goalkeeper. And I saw a kid on the field, and I wanted to point it out to the coach. This guy was actually coaching his team. He was saying, no, you go stay there. You go and do this. And the coaches didn't notice that. He was a coach, a player coach. The coaches never noticed or acknowledged that, but I saw it. And I thought this guy, somebody needs to actually grab
Harness those
him.
skills.
Yeah,
Yes, hone those skills.
yeah. And that's why
And that's what we need.
Nagelsmann was my choice. Nagelsmann was my choice. Everyone goes, oh, he's 30 something years old and he's done. I said, the reason why is because in Germany, it's a whole different system. And when you get people like that, and the Dutch are similar as well. So getting the German, a Dutch guy, I was fully down with that. Now I don't know where they are going. In fact, because of you, Soji, I've stopped looking at I've just cancelled everything. Prospective coaches. But one thing I did do though, which is what Jennifer said as well, is I'm putting my faith in Daniel Levy, because I think it's complete darkness. It's complete. We're down on the floor. It's at that point, everyone is written us off completely. They did the same thing the year we got Pochettino, because if you remember, we were meant to get Frank de Boer from Ajax. He turned us down. Louis van Gaal signed for us, then dumped us for Man United. So the entire fan base was on his knees. Then we got this Pochettino guy from Southampton. And my uncle asked me, oh, is he good? I said, my uncle, the guy is amazing. I've been watching Southampton games for a year. My uncle did not believe that Pochettino was any good. And he called me later on, and he even said it on the group. He said, I remember when you told me in 2014, I was in Nigeria. I told him, this Pochettino guy is mustard. He said, but we needed Van Gaal. I said, forget Van Gaal. Van Gaal can go. De Boer can go. They will not do anything with those clubs they're going for. And it was true. So right now, we're at that point. Daniel Levy has no other choice but to get it right. And I think under that pressure, he will do well. I think Daniel Levy will take that pressure and turn it into something. And that's what I'm praying for.
Let's have a bit of a sort of left field type thing, right? And I know this season, with everyone's seen how this season has unfolded, a lot of teams haven't done as well as people expected them to have done at the beginning of the season. And given all of the stuff that have gone on, Chelsea, for instance, spent about £600 million or thereabouts, languishing in 12th. Liverpool late rally to come up to 5th, this season, it wasn't quite good enough to get into Champions League. Newcastle surprise package with Eddie Howe, who a lot of people didn't give any chance, to get as far as that. And I think possibly the revelation of the season has been Brighton, as a team, with De Zerbi, getting them to play the way that they play and coming up with some amazing football. I mean, I watch those guys and I think to myself, wow, I wish we had somebody like him in our team. And I actually feel that if we had somebody like him, in our team, we would challenge for the title. Honestly, I will have no doubt whatsoever, because our team, in my view, this is my opinion, right? That team is much better than Brighton's team in terms of personnel, right? And if he uses that team in the way that he's using Brighton, he will definitely improve our team. We'll find a way of improving our team, with whatever resources that he has available with us. And because you will know that he's the coach that looks at games and changes things in the course of games, because I watched him against Man U, I thought to myself, wow, he made changes, and I thought to myself, you will see that he kept on, changing stuff in the course of the game, and you were a constant threat all the time. And these are people that you wouldn't even sort of
pick. Yeah.
And Sisu, Boanote, Dunk, March, Solly March, Ferguson. Who were these guys? Even Gilmore, that young Gilmore,
Gilmore was written off by Chelsea.
There you go.
So, one of the sad things, right, is that the top teams in England, and this is a fundamental thing, they don't have English coaches. Where are the coaches in England? Look at all the other countries we're talking about. Look at the Netherlands, look at Germany, even Belgium, look at Italy, Spain. Most of them have homegrown coaches. So as the teams are growing players, they also need to grow coaches. If you like, send them on an internship to Italy, to Spain, to somewhere.
Sister J, they are coming. But the problem is, we had a generation of English players and managers that they were all old school. They refused to learn, like the British way is the best way, all that stuff. And now you have a generation of players coming through that have been coached by Guardiola, that have been coached by, they're now looking for that information. If you go to the championship is some of the best football I've seen this year. Michael Carrick, there are a whole bunch of coaches that you can tell that they've been influenced by Guardiola, they've been influenced by Klopp. They're coming. But the problem is the ones that are here now, those ones refuse. People like Allardyce, people like Warnock, they keep giving them jobs over and over.
Allardyce is a dinosaur. Allardyce is a dinosaur.
But he knows himself. He doesn't lie. He just knows himself.
He knows a lot of football, and I think he might be better off as a commentator or, doing analysis in the stadium instead of coaching. I really think so, instead of hopping from one place to the other, But look, let's be honest. I mean, call a spade a spade, Look at Pep. I mean, from Spain to Germany, did Bayern Munich really?
You go and learn from those guys, CJ. You've learned, like, that whole thing of where if you want to be rich, why will you go and talk to a poor person? You go and talk to a rich man, uncle, how did you make your money? But I find it that I'm so surprised that English coaches are not.
It depends on where that uncle is from. It depends on where the uncle is from, because you can tell him, Juma, it's not been easy. It's God. That's what some uncles will tell you, So you need someone that can really advise you.
No, but the thing about Pep and Klopp, the thing I like about both of them from what I've heard, like their players have come to Klopp, ex-players have come to Klopp, and Klopp will get them in, and Klopp will tell you, he will put you through his training thing, and there are coaches that have his DNA that are younger. Same thing with Guardiola as well. There's no hidden secret. There are bigger coaches that have even come and like when they've been sacked. We're talking down on Brendan Rodgers, but Rodgers has gone to hang out with Pep Guardiola several times in his career. Like when he was at Swansea, before he got the Liverpool job, he was hanging around Guardiola. You know, he was hanging around coaches that had Mourinho, people that had more sense than him. But very few English coaches at that time had that humility. They were all, oh, I played for Chelsea like Frank Lampard. What does playing for Chelsea mean? It doesn't mean anything. You know, go and learn from somebody that actually knows. Ryan Mason now, you should go and sit down with Guardiola and Klopp. Just sit down for a year, then go and take a little championship side. Then he can come back to Tottenham. Right now, he has all these ideas, but he has no experience.
Well,
Thank you, guys. I mean, it's been an absolutely fascinating discussion we have this evening. Zeus disappeared. I don't know what happened to him, but hey, I know that the gods have loads on their plates. But I mean,
relegation.
Having now, if you're new here, this is Come On You Spurs TV, where we talk about everything Spurs. Your subscription helps the channel to grow. We welcome that. So if you haven't subscribed, please do that and share the channel with your fans, your relatives, and your people in your network. And also, of course, I mean, don't just walk by when you see our stuff in your feed. Leave a comment. Those are things that help the algorithm and make the channel grow. So don't just say, Soji, I saw you on this TV thing. Yeah, but leave a comment. Tell me you saw me. That's what makes the thing grow. If you tell me verbally, it doesn't really help. I love it when you tell me. Don't get me wrong, but yes, what helps the most is leave a comment either on Facebook, on Instagram, or on YouTube, or on Twitter, wherever you're watching us, because we're live on all these channels. And it's been very great having you, Jennifer. You've been absolutely fantastic. Final word on what you think the outcome will be for tomorrow's match.
Leeds is going to stay in the Premiership.
You reckon? Okay. Right. So that means they will beat us. Okay, fair enough. Do you want to sort of hazard a guess line? Sorry, a score line?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be 2-0, and I think the first goal will fall in the first 5 minutes. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at our past record.
No,
That's how our past record has been.
We agree.
And really.
Okay, Chuma, your final word for me.
I'm going draw. I don't know if it's enough to keep Leeds in the league.
No,
the mere fact that I have bias. So I'm a Marcelo Bielsa fan. Mm-hmm. When Bielsa was coach of Leeds, I loved Leeds. I love watching Leeds. I watch Spurs and I watch Leeds play. The minute Bielsa left Leeds, I have no business with them. So whether they get relegated, the fact they got Allardyce is the biggest insult, in my opinion, to having someone like Bielsa to Allardyce. That's madness. So I don't care if they go, but I think it's going to be a draw, 2-2 or 3-3.
Fantastic.
High scoring game.
I never go for a draw or a loss. I always go for a Tottenham win. So for me, the Tottenham win outright. Harry Kane, Bissouma, and Son. I even give you the scorers for tomorrow. So yes.
Wow.
Thank you, guys. In the meantime, come on, you Spurs.
Hi, guys.
Arrivederci.